Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark Roden, and in today's video we're going to be going over the top 25 best German cars of the 90s. We recently did this with JDM cars of the 90s, so now we're going to do it with German, and then after that we'll do it with American cars of the 90s, and after that we'll probably do it with European cars that aren't German, because obviously if I did just European cars, the majority of the list would have just been German cars, so that's why I'm doing them separately. But song of the day is called No Cure by Zach Bryan. It's a country song, but good golly, I like this song. All right, and also we're gonna keep the intro short today because I've been seeing comments recently on some of my videos where people are like, never forget to skip 2 minutes into Mark Roden video because he talks so much. So from now on, if I have anything to say to you guys, I'm just gonna say it at the end. That way I don't waste people's time, because it probably hurts the viewer retention. So without further ado, let's get right into it with number 25. And that is the Mercedes-Benz 500e. I believe this is the W124, but I want to make something very, very crystal clear with you guys, crystal clear like Crystal Pepsi. I'm not the biggest Mercedes-Benz fan, so with a lot of the Mercedes on this list, I don't know too much about them. I'm just gonna have to be like, yeah, it's pretty cool, I guess, blah blah blah. And that's pretty much how it is with the 500e. Almost every list I looked up of the best German cars, because obviously I look up some lists before making my videos just to see what other people, just to get the grand community's opinion here, and a lot of them were saying the 500e, and so I was like, okay, I'll include it. But again, since I don't know the most about it and I'm not the biggest fan of it personally, I'm gonna put it here at the number 25 spot. Coming in at the number 24 spot, however, I do know quite a bit about, and I actually recommend buying these quite often in my videos because I love them that much. So BMW 740i BMW 740iL E38. That's what it is. It was so hard to say that. It's a luxury car, and so a lot of people that, they don't really think about this when they think about like buying their next project car. They want the E36s or even like the 5 Series, but it's not really meant for what you would expect a BMW to be made for, if that makes any sense. Like I said, they're luxury cars. They're more like an LS400 style thing where you buy it because you want to drive in comfort. 23rd place, yeah, there's a spoiler alert, there's going to be quite a bit of BMWs on this list because first of all, I'm a massive BMW fan. As you guys know, I love BMWs. But second, there's only really 4, or I guess 5 big German car brands, and that's BMW, Audi, Mercedes, Porsche, and Volkswagen. And so obviously there's not that much room for other cars to make it on here. But either way, 23rd place is the BMW Z3. These little sports cars are absolutely amazing, but I feel like a lot of people don't like them as much as they like other BMWs just because they don't really fit that BMW bill that people have come to know and love, which is like a sedan, a sports sedan that has both the room, the practicality, and the performance all stuffed into one car, whereas the Z3 is pretty much just the performance. Coming in at 22nd place, however, is going to the Porsche 944, a car that, again, you can find for less than $10,000 nowadays. Now you're not getting like the S2 or whatever it's called, a turbo S2 poop sack machine. You're not going to get the fast versions of the 944, obviously under 10K, but they're still a 944. And people with when it comes to these front engine 90s and 80s Porsches, people just like act like they're just bad cars because they're not as good as 911s, and that's just ignorant, man. That's just ignorant. The 944 is a very, very, very good car. Coming in at the number 21 spot, however, barely missing out on the top 20. I am stuttering over my words so much today, but it's the Audi S8 D2. It pretty much fits the same bill as the E38 BMW we were just talking about, but I do like the S8 better. I think if you're going for this is my personal opinion on German cars. If you're going for strictly luxury, get a Mercedes. If you're going for strictly performance, get a BMW. If you're going for a good combination of the both, get an Audi. And that's why I think the Audi S8 D2 is just better than the 740iL, because you're looking for pretty much a combination of both when it comes to these higher luxury lines in Audi, BMWs, and Mercedes. However, this coming in at the number 20 spot, breaking its way into the top 20, is going to the BMW M5 E34. This is a very, 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 very good combination of the two. It's one of the BMW's M5 line is probably the best combination of the two you're gonna get out of BMW when it comes to luxury and performance. Like the 3 Series is obviously the more performance oriented one. It's smaller, doesn't have as much luxury bits in it and everything like that, and it has a better entry price, whereas the M5 is a lot larger, much more practical, and the E34 is just great googly moogly. It's an icon in terms, it didn't really start it off with the M5. There was an M5 before this, but it's what truly put the M5 on the map. Coming in at 19th place, dude, I mentioned multiple times on my channel how I'm not the biggest Mercedes fan out there, but I might be now after finding out about this car, because I'm just going to be 100% honest. I just found out about this car when making this list. Okay, I'm going to be 100% clear with you guys. I don't know too much about it, but I freaking love it. It's called the Mercedes-Benz 560 SEC. This thing is sick. plain and simple, I think it's awesome. I think it looks super, super cool. Now, I don't know, again, too much about it. That's why it's sitting here at the number 19 spot. But if it is good, please let me know in the comments below and inform me of my stupidity, because I would love to put this car higher than just 19th. Because, again, I'm not a big Mercedes fan, but I want one of these so bad. This thing is awesome. Coming in at the number 18 spot, however, is going to the Audi S4 B5. This is Audi's entry-level sports car. This is Audi's M3, pretty much, is the best way of putting it. And I've always loved the S4 B5s. They're absolutely crazy cars, and I want one so bad. I think almost anybody that knows anything about cars wants a B5 Audi. The only problem is they are truly horribly unreliable. Like people talk about the 2.7T and how bad it is, but apparently almost every 2.7T out there is still under like 200,000 miles, because not a single one of them has managed to reset reliably on the original motor, which is insane to think about. That's just not that great. Coming in at the number 17 spot, however, is one that I feel like is going to get forgotten about by a lot of you guys. Like, a lot of you guys are not going to remember to include this on your personal 25 best German 90s cars list. The Volkswagen GTI Mark III. The Mark III GTI, specifically with the VR6, is a absolute like tuning icon. If you are into tuner cars, which if you watch Mark Roden, there's a very high chance you are, because I'm a big old tuner boy. I be tuning things left, right, and center. If you're into the tuner boys, you probably love the Mark III GTI, and for all intents and purposes, that makes sense. This thing was the hottest of hatches. This was the Sydney Sweeney of hatchbacks. 16th place is going to the Porsche 968 Turbo S. Just like the 944 we were talking about earlier, this is one of the front engine Porsches that everybody is kind of controversial on. People are like, oh, some people love them, some people hate them. The 968, I will say, I don't think looks as good as the 944, but it is better performance-wise. It's just a more iconic car. It just did better, apparently, motorsports-wise, and so I am going to put it higher, but I personally would rather have a 944 than the 968. It also doesn't have, like, pop-up head. Well, I guess it does have pop-up head. It has, like, weird pop-up headlights. Like, they do pop up, but you can still see them when they're down. It's weird. It's a weird combination. All right, 15th place, I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys, is a car that I don't even actually truly believe is German, but for some reason on almost every list that I looked up on the best German cars of all time, this car came up. The Lotus Carlton. If I'm not mistaken, I thought that was Ford and Lotus coming together and making a car, which Lotus is a British brand and Ford is an American brand, so I don't understand how it's German, but again, a lot of people were saying it is. Take this one with a grain of salt, though. I don't know enough about it to really put an accurate, saying on it. Just keep that in mind. I'm not too well informed on this car. 14th place, gosh darn it, I am well informed on, baby. It's the BMW M6 E24. Now, I know somebody in this stupid freaking comment section gonna be like, well, actually, Mark, the M6 never existed. It was just the M635 CSI. You don't know what he's talking about. I do know what I'm talking about, you big idiot, because the M6 did exist, it just wasn't offered in America, and the M6 E24 is perfection. Like, it's actually perfect. Like, I do love that 560 SEC that I was talking about earlier, the Mercedes thing. I love that, but even though I know that car exists, I still would take an M6 E24 over that 100 times over. These cars are just perfect in my opinion. They scratch they check off every single freaking box known to man for me. In 13th place is technically better, so I'm putting it one spot higher, but in my personal opinion, I like the E24 better. The BMW 850 CSI E31. Now, this one really did not come as an M8. I don't think they ever once produced an M8 E31. They had this weird, like, wide body aggressive version of one, and people were calling it like the M8, but it was a tuned car from a different factory. That doesn't count, you big cheater. Okay, that's a cheat code. And the 850 CSI is still a really cool car. The 8 Series in general is really awesome and honestly kind of underrated in my opinion, but it's just like, I don't really feel like it doesn't really like scream BMW to me. Like, every time I think of 8 Series, I'm just like, that's not a BMW, it's something different. Coming in at 12th place is pretty much just a cooler version of the Mark III GTI. Realistically, probably doesn't deserve to be higher than the Mark III GTI, but it's the Volkswagen Corrado VR6. I just like it better because it's so much more unique. They're pretty much the same car. They have the same engine, the VR6, and were built right around the same exact time period as well. And the Mark III GTI is actually a lighter weight car, so you probably would be better off with that over the Corrado, but I just love the Corrado. I think the Corrado's really cool, and it had that freaking active aero. Like, that's just... it's not something crazy, but it is different, and it's still cool to see stuff like that. Like, even on cars like the 3000 GT with their active aero, like, yeah, it's only gonna prove to be a complication in nowadays because they're just so old, but like, it's kind of cool that it even had it in the first place. Coming in at the number 11 spot is going to another car that's like surprisingly cheap for what it is. The Mercedes-Benz SL600. There's a thing with the German 90s cars where it's like they're still absolutely incredible, and they were like, this is like the peak of German production. Well, I don't know. I would say honestly, modern day German cars are like where Germany's gonna peak at. Like the modern day cars are absolutely insane from Germany. But either way, they're really good 90s cars. But for some reason, they never got the hype that the JDM cars did. And so you can still find insane cars like the SL600 for like 15 grand. Like you can find one of these for significantly cheaper than you can find like an Evo, for example. And this car has 400 horsepower from factory and a V12. That's insane. Raking its way into the top 10. Did it sound like a radio station intro? Well, it was. It's the BMW M5 E39. Like I was talking about earlier with the E34, the M5 is BMW's pretty much flagship model. Like everybody thinks it's the M3. Everybody always like is like, oh, is the M3's got to be. No, the whole M line and all that stuff, it pretty much started with M5s. This is like the 5 Series was BMW's like baby, and it still kind of is. And the E39 really improved on the E34 platform. Now the E34 I would say is a more impactful M5, but the M5 E39 is the better car overall, and that's why I'm putting it higher. Also, the E39 is just so slept on in my opinion. Ninth place. Ninth place. Hey, psst, psst. We're at ninth place. It's the Audi Sport Quattro. Yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention this in the intro. See, this is why I always feel like mentioning stuff in the intro is better, because now we made it all the way to number 9, and I forgot to mention it until just now. But what I mean by 90s is as long as the car was built during the 90s at any point, it's a 90s car. So even if it was built in 1999 for the first year, but the majority of the car's runtime was in like 2000 to 2003, that counts as a 90s car. And the same thing the other way with 80s cars. Let's say it was built in 1988 or something, and its last model year was 1990. It still counts as a 90s car in my opinion. And the Audi Sport Quattro is one of those. It originally started its production time in the 80s, but trickled over into the 90s. The Audi Sport Quattro, as we all know, is literally what made Audi the powerhouse that it is today with the Quattro all-wheel drive system. If it wasn't for this car, Audi would never have really risen to power. Coming in at 8th place though, I mean, it's not a list about German cars without talking about one BMW M3, and this one is the BMW M3 E36. Yeah, the E36, I mean, dude, it's still to this day one of the best like budget track options available for you. Like there's just, I don't think it will ever be beat, honestly. Like I'm a big fan of modern M3s. I love the G80, I love the F80. Like I like modern M3s, and I know I'm a hot take for saying that, but I do like them. But there is no denying the unbelievable impact that an E36 had. Like in 20 years, will people still be buying F80s and taking them to tracks? I don't know. I honestly don't think so. Coming in at the number 7 spot, on the other hand, is one that I honestly think is overrated. I really never understood the hype behind this car, the Audi RS2 Avant. I am very open to learning about the hype though. If somebody in the comments would love to like teach me, there's probably something I'm missing, something about its legacy here that I'm probably missing. Because whenever I look up like the stats about this car, it really isn't too impressive. It's a cool car. It's a wagon, Avant, all-wheel drive, one of Audi's very first RS cars. I think it is actually their very first RS car, which again, that's super cool, don't get me wrong, but in terms of like actual performance and impact, I really can't ever find anything about this car that makes it stand out from the rest. Coming in at 6th place though, I mean, this is just obvious. It's the Porsche 911 993. Yeah, I mean, talking about impactful German cars of any time frame, and you're going to have at least one 911 in there. Every 911 generation was good, even yes, the 996, but the 993 in my opinion is actually one of my favorites. I freaking love the 993. It's super cool looking. It still was very, very lightweight with a very short wheelbase. I actually think the first time that they decided to go like a longer wheelbase was the 996, and that's where I kind of feel like 911s kind of lost their touch of what they were, which is, like I said, very small, lightweight, very short wheelbase cars. And the 993, in my opinion, was the last one that was really like that. The 996 was close, but that's when they just started to trickle into the longer, regular old Grand Tourer aspect. Coming in at 5th place, on the other hand, I'm a DTM fan. I am down to I'm down to menstrual cycle because I love these styles of cars, and it's the Mercedes-Benz 190e Evo. The whole DTM phase was just so freaking cool, man. I know that they still do it, but it's not the same. It's not the same as the 90s DTM stuff, man. The 190e, watching that car, just, there's a GIF that you can look up on, or GIF, whatever you want to call it, on Instagram. You know, they have like the GIF on in the comment sections where you just type in 190e and it'll show like a bunch of them just going over this corner, and like all of them, almost every single one of them goes on 2 wheels when they go around the corner, and then there's a couple of E30s in there as well. And that was just so cool. That was peak motorsports, man. I realized I pretty much just talked about DTM and not even the 190e Evo that entire time. But yeah, the 190e Evo is obviously a really good car. I don't think I have to talk about it that much. But either way, fourth place is the BMW M3 E30. This is going to ruffle some feathers because obviously there's a big rivalry between Mercedes-Benz and BMW, and this is where the rivalry pretty much started. The 190e Evo and the M3 E30 is where, you know, where everybody picked their sides, let's say. I think the E30 is a significantly better option, though, than the 190e Evo, especially in today's world where 190e Evos are like $300,000 and an M3 E30 is like $80K. Like, obviously, that's a much better deal. But the M3 E30 is still to this day used in motorsports all throughout the world. It was good in rally racing. It was good in circuit racing. It wasn't great in drag racing, obviously, but it was good in every kind of motorsports that revolved around corners. And it is what started the M3, which is obviously one of the world's largest sports car lines of all time. Coming at third place, however, and now we're getting into the cars that are like, yeah, these are just, I mean, they're unobtainable, but they're incredible. Like, the last three cars in this list are just like, yeah, obviously they're going to be pretty good. Third place is the Porsche 911 GT1 Straßenversen. Now, this is a road-going car. That's what Straßenversen means, as a matter of fact. But it's a road-going LMP car. Now, people are going crazy recently over the Mustang GTD, or whatever it's called, the STD. That thing is pretty cool. It's a GT3 road-going car, but that's been done multiple times. As a matter of fact, the GT3 RS is one of those. It's been done multiple times. A GT1 road-going GT1 car, like, people don't understand what that means. GT1 is like top of the line. Like, these are the fastest cars the world can produce besides like Formula One and I guess LMP or Group C cars. Like, these are close to the fastest you're gonna get on the road. Coming in at second place, dude, this thing was, I mean, we talked about how the E30 M3 flourished in pretty much any form of motorsports. The Porsche 959 did that as well. I don't even know, like, a lot of information about the 959, if I'm being 100% honest. Like, I don't know, is this car like a 911 chassis that's just heavily modified? Is it a completely different chassis? I don't know. What I do know is the 959 was entered into a lot of different forms of motorsports, and again, was very good at every single one of them, just like the M3 E30 we talked about earlier. The reason why I'm putting the 959 higher is because it's just so much more like rare and so much more like special, and like people are literally would like spend millions of dollars on the 959, and there's a reason for that. It is a supply and demand thing. But first place, and this is, hey, see, this is what I mean. People always are like, Mark hates Mercedes-Benz. Mark is a Mercedes-Benz hater. No, I'm not. Because my favorite 90s German car of all time is the Mercedes-Benz CLK GTR. This thing is freaking sick, and there is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This is, again, another car that is a road-going version of a GT1 car, the CLK LM. The CLK LM was racing in GT1 class alongside cars like BMW's V12 LMR, Dodge Viper's GTS-R thing that they made there, the C5R, I believe, was at the time, the 911 GT1 Straßenversen, the McLaren F1 LM, the Audi R18s. This thing was racing against absolute legends. Legendary cars. Like, there will never be a time ever again where racing gets as cool as this. It just won't happen, because companies were different. Like, if you watch like GT1 and LMP style cars nowadays, every car just feels the same. Like, they don't feel special, and it doesn't feel like when a car wins that it's the car that did it, and it just feels televised and boring. Cars in the 90s, these LMP style cars, this was so cool. I don't know, I'm just glazing LMP at this point, but dude, I was a big fan. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of today's video of the top 25 best German cars of the 1990s. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. Let me know what other videos I'd see in the comment section down below. And obviously, like I said, the next video will be on well, not the next video, but the next time we do a video like this will be on American cars in the 90s, because I like the 90s. It's my favorite decade of cars, and every country made cool cars during that time period. So we're gonna make some lists. Obviously not gonna make them about like Chinese cars or something, because yeah. Also, if you guys are like, oh my god, why does this guy have the girliest curtains in the entire world? I'm in my little sister's room because everybody else in the house is all dancing around and parading about. Not really, but it's just loud everywhere else, so I'm not gonna record there. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate it. If there was any point during this video where you're like, wow, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about with this car, yeah, I don't. There are some cars in this list, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what I'm talking about with them. If you would like to, you know, leave a comment below and inform me about them, I would appreciate it. But just, you know, be respectful, of course, okay? Be respectful. Or else I'm just gonna... If you're not respectful, man, you got another thing coming, buddy, let me tell you. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, I appreciate it. Das Batania, and have a nice night.